We're going to be talking about preparing and appearing in courts, tribunals and commissions. So what are employment commissions, tribunals, courts? Well, look, there's a pile of them, but among others, there's the Fair Work Commission, there's the Queensland Human Rights Commission, the Queensland Industrial Relations Commission, we have the Civil and Administrative Tribunal, and we've got the Office of Industrial Relations, we've got Commonwealth Courts, we've got the Federal Circuit Court, we've got the Federal Courts, we've got the Magistrates Court, we've got the District Court, we've got the Queensland Courts here, so we've got the Supreme Courts, and they are state courts. So there's a lot of different places that you might find yourself as an employer. You might find yourself in the Queensland Human Rights Commission, and you might ultimately end up in the QIRC, the Queensland Industrial Relations Commission, or you might find yourself in the Fair Work Commission and then ultimately find yourself in the Federal Courts. It does depend on the matter. For instance, for most general protection matters, they start in the Federal Fair Work Commission and they end in the Federal Circuit Court. For most discrimination matters here in Queensland, they start at the Queensland Human Rights Commission, but they end up at the Queensland Industrial Relations Commission. So it does depend very heavily on where you are and what you're doing. Now, an employer's made a claim against me. Can I just ignore it? Well, you can. It's not a good idea, but it's certainly an option. If you ignore the matter will more than likely be found in not in your favour, and the penalties will be far higher for you. So we do not recommend that you ignore any claim. If you have a claim against you, it's more than likely you've been served it, so it's an official thing, and there's more than likely a way, some information in that claim about how to respond. So go ahead and start thinking about putting that response together. I know all lawyers say that you need to get legal assistance in this, and we are certainly no different. If you're going to have a claim against you, make sure you give a lawyer a call. We can certainly help you with that. Make sure you get somebody who's experienced in that space, because it can be more expensive if they're not. And if you've got the capacity, we would certainly recommend that you get your solicitor to get barrister assistance as well. It's only because barristers tend to assist us in the actual hearing stage, and if they've been a part of the process throughout the time, it's going to be easier and cheaper for you to get that barrister to do that advocacy in the court or in the tribunal or in the commission on our behalf. Now, we do all the other work, obviously. We do a lot of the legwork, the negotiations, the discussions, the prepping of documents, and so on and so forth. And there is a lot of those. Depending on which tribunal, commission or court you're in, there are different rules surrounding that. For instance, if you're in the Federal Circuit Court, you comply with the Federal Circuit Court rules. If you're in a state court here in Queensland, you've got the UCPR, the Union for Civil Procedure rules. If you're at Queensland Industrial Relations Commission, you've got the Queensland Industrial Relations Commission rules, or the Industrial Relations rules. If you're at the Fair Work Commission, you've got the Fair Work Commission rules. So there's a lot of rules and regulations around how to behave, the protocol, what to do, when to give evidence, how to give that evidence, and so on, in each jurisdiction. And having a lawyer is going to actually really help cut through some of that noise. An employee has made a claim against, an employee has made a small claim against me. Can you represent me in that matter? Now, I'm going to assume for this question it's a small claim in the Federal Circuit Court, and it's more likely going to be an unpaid entitlement claim. Small claims in the Federal Circuit Court under the employment jurisdiction are an own cost, no lawyer jurisdiction. What that means is the employees, that means the parties basically bear their own costs no matter who wins and who loses. It also, the no lawyer jurisdiction means if you want a lawyer to appear on your behalf, you need to make an application to court to request that to happen. Now, obviously, lawyers like myself make that request on your behalf, but the other side can actually refuse, and that will cause more complications in getting an approval from the court, getting leave from the court to appear. So Sometimes we can represent you, sometimes we can't. More often than not, we are able to help you in behind the scenes in the ghostwriting stages. We can help you prepare those documents, get ready for the actual appearance. We've been handling a Fair Work Commission matter on our own, but acknowledge that we are out of our depths. Is it too late to engage a lawyer for help? Look, actually, it's pretty much never too late to engage a lawyer. If you engage them very late in the process, it can cost more money than you've saved, because what we're going to have to do is read all the documents first, figure out what's been happening, and then provide you some advice, and then take some steps moving forward. So the later you get in that process, the more work we might have to do to kind of tidy it up a bit. We might need to amend your documents to make them better. We might need to get more affidavit material, more witness material. We might have to do more negotiations with the other side. So it can actually end up being a little more expensive having solicitors come in at the end than you would at the beginning. But it is absolutely a matter for you. From our point of view, until the judge or the commissioner or the tribunal has actually made a decision, you can always at least ask for representation, seek leave for it and get it, and have someone appear for you on your behalf. We can do that for you. There's no problem there. We can help you get that permission, and we can do the appearances on your behalf. You just need to contact us, and we can talk through where you are in the stages, how we can help you, and what the costs might be. Thanks for watching.